The Major Arcana. In the West, there are 4 major story archetypes or spiritual paths that lead to a center of integration. Although Joseph Campbell popularized the hero's journey, this is not the only path, nor is it the full journey of the hero. In my other videos, I talked to length about stories, but the Star Wars saga not only tell a true hero's journey tale, but also the full tale in the figure of Anakin Skywalker. The full tale of the other paths is also rare, although the figures on each path show up in other tales, often as villains. I recognized the 4 paths in the first cards of the tarot: the Magus, the High Priestess, the Empress, and the Emperor. The Fool was obviously the novice, and the World was the integration of the paths. After much work, I came up with 5 cards for each path, with the Fool as the initiation and the World as the completion of each path. Briefly, there is the hero's full journey into the magical world and up into the real world and back again. The trickster's tale is that of a magical being going into the real world and falling back into the magical world to rule until he is destroyed and is exiled. The bride's story also starts in the magical world and rises into the real world with another tyrant queen who is cast down. The witch is another magical being sent into the real world, where she falls into the role of destroyer and has to recreate the world from the ashes. The way of Earth. When things become popular, they change to suit the times. It is so with stories. Heroes today are not what they were in Roman times. Today, the hero is a knight, a fighting man, whereas in the old tales, the hero was a young fool, often a commoner, who was blessed with an uncommon gift of luck. Being a good lad, the hero's luck made him confident and brave. He could trust himself to keep on struggling through his adventures. The hero, like the bride, was tested for qualities that would survive the test of fame, fortune, and power. He had to battle against odds, believe in his cause with a purity of fanatic, knowing that he was guided by a higher power, and thus be bold enough to quest for the impossible if he was told it would help his people. In modern times, the quest is to heal himself, but in ancient times he was known to be unselfish, upright, moral, and kind. Luck of the draw. The hero's story begins with fate. Jack and the Beanstalk is an image I want you to have. A boy, not savvy to the ways of trade, gives away his mother's only cow for a handful of beans. Jack's luck is extraordinary, for those beans lead him to riches. In most ancient tales, the hero is so innocent to appear almost stupid. He is the youngest son, but his heart is willing to do what is asked of him, so where fortune deals the cards, he is willing to go. In ancient times, the clockwork logic of building a career was bound by fate. Fortune loomed over a man, both oppressing him when the wheel was down, but offering him constant hope of lifting up. Heroes were warned that their time of fortune would pass and they would fall again, but few believed this when they live high. Our Calvinist society thinks that success is the result of hard work, But the tales tell us that success is more often found for the hero in the friends he makes, through acts of kindness. His compassion and sympathy lead him to rescue those who are struggling, and those deeds add up until when he is down, they will help him. The hero is known by his friends that fortune brings. The cards I made show the circle of Roa, and the wheel of the life, the cycle of karma so overwhelming to most ancient beliefs. The wild ride. The hero is often known by the vehicle of fortune that transports him: an old carpet, a broken down car, an old horse put out to pasture. He goes for the ride and flies off to adventure. If the horse throws him, his fate makes that one spot that is special. The ride is so well known that the hero, like the knight, is synonymous with the horse or the vehicle. The chariot card means change, speed, and the impetuosity of youth. The rider is decorated by the armor of the gods, and the creatures of time pull his car. The vehicle symbolizes the adventure, the trials of the hero to test him for the qualities of the king. The hero's journey is identified with adventure, and the ride is from one mishap to another until a path is built of luck and courage that leads to the ultimate rescue and reward. In my cards, Carbad symbolizes the madness of the ride, the fragility of fate, and the possibility of misstep. Crowned glory. The ultimate reward is the protection of the kingdom. In Joseph Campbell's analysis, the hero becomes a god. In ancient times, the story was represented by election or appointment of a good luck charm for the people. Long after the religious connotation passed, people still believed that the king was appointed by God and beyond mortal law. Most real kings have acted in this way, many without any morals at all. The Emperor card represents the height of the heroic path back into the real world. The Emperor is second only to God. He sits in judgment to protect his people. However, more often than not, he forgets that he is only there as a symbol of luck and strives to secure his position against those who see him threatening his precious throne. After a time, the blazing glory of his rise turns into oppressive acts of cruelty and punishment. His fall is one of a stone, for he is no longer growing or blooming or alive, but rigid, ruthless, and corrupt. My own Emperor cards show the animals of Smacht, or rule of the king of birds, the king of the northern beasts, the giant brown bear who roars out in his rage, the golden eagle whose flight dominates the skies. In Anya, the Emperor card signifies the power of a man who wishes to destroy the wilderness for the sake of progress. Make an example. History and folklore show us what must happen to a king who has absorbed too much evil. He is now unlucky. Kings, once sacrificed after their luck changed, appointed a scapegoat to take their place to appease the people's need for a fall guy or a sacrifice. The royal fool was often a slave elevated to kingship, expected to be outrageously oppressive, and killed for it. The fool could be a slave of the heroic type or a trickster whom the fates would punish for daring to be a king. The hanged man is an old symbol of the punishment of politicians who were despised. But in the tarot, the hanged man is obviously the royal sacrifice of the fool whom fortune has made king. In stories, this royal death often comes as a sacrifice, the ultimate rescue for the sake of the next generation. The king is killed, long live the king. The cycle, rather than the king fought any longer, is broken open by the death of one who knows that the battle is for the death of the good of all. My own cards focus on the sacrifice and the root of the king's death, seen in the wren and the oak. The hanged man is still depicted in my Anya deck from the series that takes place where the kings were still elected and killed. It is vital to remember that the death of Jesus was promoted to prevent the need of the people for another king's sacrifice, and that Jesus' death would take care of all the sins of man for all time. Sunrise. Myths of the world have the cyclical tempo of day and night, summer and winter, tied up in the hero's journey. Across Europe, the sun was carried in a chariot that raced across the skies. The sun was winged, often seen as a bird of prey. In Europe, the sun was seen as male, represented at times by a boy child. Sir James Frazer loved this myth and promoted the story of the passage of the sun and the rise and fall of the seasons. The cards also depict the sun as a child, rising into spring. At the height of Babylon, the sign of Gemini was on the feast of Beltane, or the fires of Bel, the sun god. The rising sun and the setting sun were times of celebration to mark the arrival of a child, an heir to all a man possessed. Sunset was always celebrated with a fire, showing that man, too, had sunshine at his fingertips to drive away the dark. My own cards show Grun, which means bearded, as a celebration. The elder tree is the final tree, but the sun is a promise card that darkness is only temporary. The way of water. The next path is that of cups or hearts. It is a path of youth and the beauty of summer. It is the pulse of blood in the vessel of the body. The path of water magic is a discipline that requires energy to always flow clearly so that all around is nourished, enriched, and made well. The trap of water magic is to dam the flood, to hold on to it, no matter how stagnant the pool becomes. Once the water ceases to flow, the temptation is to suck the blood of the innocent to hang on to youth at all costs. The path of water celebrates the body. Humans are of the water and shine at their best in water. The human body machine is balanced for acrobatics. Our faces and skin shine forth in naked glory. The human hand is a feat of engineering, unparalleled, allowing each of us dexterity and skill. This path is a celebration of life in the body, and its reward comes after years of discipline and practice. The heart aspect of the water path is counterintuitive, for the developed will to needed to survive this difficult path. One must serve without ego, without pride, without thought to reward or gain. It is the social caste of the worker, but only because this path is tragic in later life when beauty and youth fade. To go through this and to keep flowing and nourishing and being nourished, one has to be extremely disciplined, and this strength is easily found in working service. The call to perform. The story archetype of water is parodied in romance fiction. It is reviled by feminists for its passivity and dependence. I aim to show that the story is deeper than the modern version that ends with happily ever after. The summons of the foolish child to become an adult is ancient and usually marked by serious initiation ceremonies. It is rarely known that the Hierophant card is a picture of the choral leader of the Eleusinian mysteries, or the story of Demeter and Persephone, the story of life itself and the great turn of the seasons. The call here is a summons to partake in an adult dance of mating and courtship, often depicted by a bull or a dance of other romantic adventures. This mocks the deeper value of these mysteries, for even in fairy tales, the call is an initiation of perilous consequence. The call is a call from the other world. The princess, or char girl, falls through a well, is chased into a wood, or otherwise taken from her home to be tested by the demons who live there. Her trials are three: one to test her command of the oral level of her soul, one to test the anal, and one to test the verbal. She is required to serve some function of cooking or rescuing a fish, then serve some function of hygiene or rescue an animal, then to serve some function of speaking or thinking, in telling the truth, speaking or rescuing a bird. The initiation summons is often masked by metaphors of white birds, messengers of the other world. Wreathed in flowers, she represents Kor, or Persephone, the innocent child of spring who must bear fruit. In many stories, we see the deep reluctance to advance further on this path, for the birth is blood and death. The demons of this path, swathed in flowers, are often seen as infertile, chaste, yet vicious temptresses who lure potential mates to death. The Hierophant makes this vision of Persephone a guide and a guard of the dark world of the dead. My own cards changed the outdated Hierophant card into the ancient symbols of the May, the threshold month, guarded by the flower queen and her owls. Waban means awe and dread, the feelings we must feel when the path leads down through the trials to see if we were strong enough to bear the next generation. The call to serve. Whether male or female, the story of water of life comes with trials in which there are often shown a contrast. One child is willing and able to do all that is asked, where the shadow child is selfish and too eager for personal gain. This is not a sign of an obedient wife despised by moderns and revered by Victorians, but of a mother who must be successful. To be successful must always attend to the needs of the child, often without knowing why. The Lover's card is a meeting of opposites. There is a huge body of lore about the first man and woman and other famous love affairs. Most people depict this aspect of water magic true to its form, but in human mating it is often fraught with problems. Since the loss of the estrous cycle in women, the surefire meeting must be substituted with ritual and tradition and training, or the imprinting process goes awry and spawns a huge community of mating-like behavior that often produces no offspring. Humans have adopted well to this, making great pleasure and satisfaction in mating games. For a bride or groom, this card signifies the entry into the real world from her trials in the underground to find her mate. Among humans, despite most of the mating disasters, it is and should be the female who chooses the father of her child, for the child is her responsibility. My cards show a range of lovers, and animals always white, signifying the ghost aspect of mating, as taking place at the spiral where the underground of the dead meets the living. The waters of birth and growth. In ancient times, there were two kinds of goddesses, virgin goddesses and mothers. Virgins were used to mean without child. However, the path of water is service to the next generation, creation of the future, and control over the fruit of spiritual union. Being on the path of water is symbolized by being the guardian of the fountain of youth. This chalice of healing symbolized the power of blood, water, and energy to heal and renew. The Empress has two faces. She is the all-giving mother of nutrition and life, and the power-jealous storm that will flood and destroy. She may withhold water jealously, guarding it to herself, and angrily let go of the flood in a fit of jealous rage. Her enemy is pride. She needs worship and acknowledgement for her gifts. If the trials she passed in the underworld hold, she is the caring, giving force that heals and shelters. If she cares more about what she can get, then she becomes the evil stepmother. Most on this path suffer back and forth, ashamed of being selfless and giving in, ashamed of being selfish and hurting their children. My images of the Empress are those associated with fertility. Ura means fresh, but heather is the plant of high summer, beloved by bees, another fertility symbol. When water is trapped and the queen wishes to remain young and powerful forever, there comes a disconnect between the image of youth and the actuality of immortality, being disgusting, stagnant, and reeking of the dead. Fiction is full of immortals who pay the price with their souls. The stagnant pool. Stories of the undead aside, there are darker stories of the price paid for power and youth. These people, when discovered, are met with the worst punishment offered to achieve a justice that is implacable in its harsh sentence. Women have often fallen victim to this retribution, often by mistake or here punished by social mores that were overly strict. The evil stepmother, the witch, the adulteress, the victim, or the murderer of justice, for them is blind and often was leveled by the vengeance of a society ill from poisoned water magic. Justice in ancient times was often in the form of punishment by birching. The birch tree was a sign of the mother, a tree for cradles, but also for bundles of whip-like branches to beat the wrongdoer. In my cards, I show the birch and its close correspondent in the roe or the red deer. Bree is the opening tree in the alphabet for birth, bearing, and justice. Breaking the vessel, freeing the waters. For me, the images of the temperance card with the pouring out of the cups, the cauldron, the two faces of the mother, or the great Mot, who weighed the souls of the dead in Egypt, is a crown of water magic. Temperance is the act of moderation, but to temper something is to soften it and make it pliable. This card would be a fire card, but for me, it means the act of knowing that good and evil are two sides, the yin and yang of the West. Most people, as they age, realize that the harsh black and white of childhood is a map, and the middle way is the way of temperance. The result of temperance is compassion, or the softening of spirit. This comes from knowing the ups and downs of power and guilt of knowing that the path of wrongdoing is trying to hold on to pleasure and avoid pain. Compassion is one of the most revered of all human expressions and often comes with the face of a woman. The path of water comes full cycle with this feeling that all people were once children and all people will suffer and die. Rather than fear and disgust, this realization leads to unconditional love. Christianity, for all its heroic trappings, is a religion of the water path that shows that love is the cure for pride. My cards show that the image of the quaking aspen, said to be trembling with grief over the death of Christ. Here again is the white bird, the swan of water, with a spread of angelic wings. Me means to forgive, and Yana is the wisdom of compassion. The way of air, in a state of dramatic oppression, the trickster provides relief. This myth archetype may be the oldest, common to hunter-gatherer societies around the world. His figure as a shaman decorates caves painted over 35,000 years ago. The unfortunate result of the predominance of the hero's journey, both in Western culture and in Western religion, is that the trickster is cast down and dishonored either as a fool, an outcast, or an evil power broker. Images of the trickster are either dark or comedic, from Puck to the Devil, from Batman to Sherlock Holmes. He is often the only hope for justice open to a people when the force of the hero as emperor turns oppressive. His ways are sharp, to poke, prod, irritate, and tease. The blackbirds are his symbols. A master of air, he is often shown flying. A master of mind, he has powers of insight and detection that defy the norm. A master of wit, he is often a clown. His great enemy is boredom, and he often falls for grace in an effort to control and impress. In myth, this archetype is all over the place. A ruler of the dead, he is mixed up with the witch. A mortuary garden, he is confused with life and death, but his is provocation, not death or immortality. He riddles and demands tests, for traditionally he ruled over all the wealth of humanity, which would give or deny seemingly by whim. The one great change in Western religion is that the Norse and Celtic gods were ruled by a trickster. In Greece, the sky god was Zeus, another heroic archetype. Among the Norse, the ruler was Odin, with his ravens, roaming in the disguise of an old man to uncover the truth. He became both Santa and the devil, Hades and Saturn, the midwinter god of wealth and darkness, merriment, and the wild carousing of a people who needed release from duty, obedience, propriety, and righteousness. The function of the trickster in a healthy society is to make fun of it. Nothing is sacred to him, and the rules of conduct are for the stuffy. The trickster is a steam release valve so that society doesn't blow up into chaos. The shaman does his dance to summon the spirits of the dead, but the punk does his dance to make us realize that all of this is a play, a consensual drama of often absurd behavior. What is never understood is that the rebel is the benign face of the trickster. In his threatening face, he is a cynical, depressed devil whose only joy is torture. When justice goes underground, the trickster is a person of the underworld. Death opens the gates between worlds. In older times, funerals were not just for grieving relatives, but a formal way to allow the dead passage to the other world without releasing any of the denizens of hell. Like the witch, the trickster is marked out, usually by his ability to outwit much larger enemies. Although most are called to this path to use their learning as diplomats, mathematicians, philosophers, scholars, linguists, or enthusiasts of rituals and complex riddles, the architect is usually a jester or a maverick caught by someone's cry for help when the death opens the gates. The trickster, even more than the hero, cannot resist a call for help. Unlike the hero, he goes not to find a place, but to try to bring back balance to a social situation. The death card is a fearful card that has come to mean change. I do not see this card as a cycle of life, but as a gate card, a warning that one will open the gate into the other and possibly flip the situation. The most popular story of the trickster is the private eye, or vigilante story. This is a person whose mission is to help the victims find justice. He may be part of a power struggle in the underworld, but his mission in the real world is to help the innocent when they are persecuted by the hands of their own protectors, usually a governing power, but often a predator. I use the images of death in my cards, but the Anya card, Marv, shows the gate between worlds, and the others show the black-winged creatures of Leg or decay. Leg is also connected to the words for siege, healing, and study, and is a state of neglect. Who is that masked man? The path of air is complex, vilified, despised, and feared, as it is an extremely attractive path for those who are naturally rebellious, disenfranchised, smart, or smart-dressed. Where the path of the hero is decorated by costumes that allow identity with a group, the path of the trickster is that of high theater, masks and costumes to impress, stun, inspire awe and fear. We are in a bewildering world of the Magus. Some never want to leave the halls of mirrors, endlessly debating forms, abstractions, metaphysics, and processes. For the magician of words, the comma placement can be a downfall. The Magus is concerned by spells. Language is of prime importance, and the competent say things correctly or die. The Magus changes a bit in modern fiction from the shaman of shadows, fire, and song to the wizard. The wizard is a modern druid, is a lore master. In ancient times, his status was so high that he could step into a battlefield and everyone would stop. One scathing song and a ruler fell, downed by satire and mockery. The wizard has an all-important function in story as an advisor or teacher of the hero. A more maverick magus is one who may instruct with more than a little bit of obfuscation and torment. A Zen master, he may use the stick as often as the riddle, and seemingly wickedly arbitrary. Very often, the phase of this path is a front to cover a huge battle in the magical world. The hero becomes a recruit to protect the real world from the hidden politics going on off stage. My cards are of shapeshifters, birds of prey, or birds of ill omen. Fair means both man and is a verb that means to grant or provide or execute or perform. Fert means a miracle, but also a mound or a grave. The Fall. What is unique about this archetype is its lack of loyalty, respect, propriety, or politics. As a lesser demon, or minor mage, or as a jack, this character stays unattached and objective. However, in most of the stories, something happens to engage the feelings of the trickster, and this leads to a deep involvement which binds and clips the wings. As soon as knowledge, ideas, and the mind are in the service of pride or lust, all is lost. Justice becomes justification. Rationality becomes rationalization. Corruption opens a hole in argument, and the clown is broken by some holy idol. The point of the trickster in story is staying small enough to fly or flee. Robin Hood cannot function to help the poor if he rules the country. Renard cannot appear innocent if he is the king. Disney chose the fox to be Robin because the fox is a tall solitary chased by dogs. Puck is a tease, a breath of air, but if he's attached to power, the air stills around him as he sinks out of the skies to rule the place where no air or light can escape. In a small form, a devil will jerk people out of routine and attachment. As the king, the devil has too many to torment. His focus changes from the particular to tormenting all in some oppressive vendetta against living. His horns, once a disguise and a trick, become heavy and a way to mark him. His nimble hooves are now those who mash and name rather than to dance. He is admired, enthroned in weight, dark, and gloom. In fiction, one of the greatest enemies of the hero is the trickster as the devil or king of the underworld. Rather than robbing and teasing, he is the one to rob, the one to punish. His kingdom is a target and he can't move. He also cannot get out. His boredom and depression becomes omnipresent, making him hateful and despised. I have chosen to illustrate the devil as a small demon that can wake you up. Prick is a term universal in Europe for the nasty bite or sting that can make you irritated or make you pay attention. Tearing down the walls. When humans are overrun, they will panic and act as a mob to fight off and destroy. More than war, they fear pestilence, either by creature or by disease. The dark images of the shaman and the mortuary house become a warning, but inspire such fear that the mob often turn on the very one to cure the plague. Blindly, at the hint of death, the mob tears down the mortuaries. At the image of the doctor, the mob burns down the hospitals. Images of the dark kingdom become themselves so terrifying that they become an additional layer of mass for the trickster to use to fight smaller battle. When disaster strikes, the mob goes rampant, as if hell itself is broken open. From Icarus to the devil, the vision of flying too high, of building the tower to touch heaven, will be shown to fall. The king, once an outlaw, is himself cast down. Many hero stories end with the destruction of an evil empire or hell. Fire, blood, earthquake are all ancient signs that a regime has fallen because it was corrupted. In the hero story, the corruption was moral or against the health of the family or living. Immortality, control of space, lost control over procreation, these are all empires to be taken down. I have used the image of lightning as a wake-up call on the path of air to clear out the palace that seems secure or the tower that seems stable. Tuishta is related to touch, but also to bungle. The senses of a blunder, a mistake that ends in overturning. Trishkar is related to Trish, which means battle, and Trish, which means rebellion, but both mean a line or a track. So the word means to lose direction, to go off track, like a cart overturning. Cast out. At the end of this conflict, the devil is relieved of his empire and outcasts and takes himself out to be by himself. He is more secure in his knowledge, in his mind, rather than in his involvement, which has led to being miscast as their leader. He is a guide, but not a leader. One of the best characters in myth and fiction is this solitary guide. Stripped of all his masks, he is able to simply be himself without pride or any desire to do more than to learn and to try to teach. He knows he is not able to fix the world, and in not trying, he succeeds in changing it one by one. In Celtic myth, the image of the hermit is bound up with the hazelnut of all knowledge. Druids worked in schools, but the wise man was simply Oli, the learned. Kuva is a word more closely related to the word for hazel, call, and the nut, know. Kuva is closely related to capable, cover, and lonely. The way of fire. The smith and the weaver. Often we explain things by contrasting them. Among most pagans, there exists the images of the triple goddess of the moon. The moon is a goddess of time, and usually her colors and phases are tied to the age of a woman and her status as a mother. This story is a story of creation that is not the creation of life, but the creation of the stars and the world without being the birthing and dying of the water goddess. Like that of the trickster, this path is without gender. Oriented to the west, it is at the end of life where genders blend and each sex takes on attributes of the others. Often represented by dwarves, giants, dryads, or ancient hermits, the god image is two, that of the crippled Loki or Vulcan, and that of the pure Vestal. Home to makers, priests, composers, and scientists, this path is fraught with the temptations of the world to dampen the inner fire. Probably the purest form of the god image for this path is that of Bridget, an Irish goddess of smithing, weaving, and healing, who became Saint Bridget of the Fire. In many stories, and in reality, the smith and the healer often lived alone and were considered neutral and offsides in any conflict. What they created was coveted, what they did made them mysterious, misshapen, and set aside. They made the weapons, but they also healed the wounded. The ancient images of Gula, who later became Aquarius, shows her stars, her dogs, and her birds, as well as the healing stick. One of the best recreations of this ancient aspect of this goddess is in the stories of George MacDonald's Princess and Goblin and Princess and Curdy, where the great-great-grandmother Irene is both a spirit spinner and a healer in a tower full of stars. She is also the goddess of the miners, appearing in many forms. Spinning and weaving were closely associated with time and fate, and heroes sought out the goddesses Frigg and Athena for knowledge of their fortunes. The candle clock. The fool or initiate on the path of fire is sent or escapes from the magical world under duress of limited time. In the ancient world, time was often associated with fire, and fires were said to be lit only by the hands of those attending the sacred goddesses of fire. We have several tales of gods stealing fire to give to man, but the fire was usually in the keeping of she who kept it going for a year. The moon marks out a time. One fire journey call to adventure is the call of time running out, time to leave, time to go, the time to task. The gate opens between the towers at the rise of the moon, and the race is on. My moon card shows the close association of the wolves and the moon and the passage of time. The familiar, one step removed. The journey of the fire witch is often open in the company of the summoner. She is the elemental, and the struggle between her and those who would steal or use her power is age-old. While she is on a mission to heal, cauterize, or amputate, her powers once recognized or coveted by others, especially magicians, traditional summoners of power. The fire witch is often depicted as a vehicle for a wizard or a familiar, a magical being in the shape of an animal whose power is at the beck and call of anyone who can use it. The fire witch was recognized in all times as a priestess consecrated to the holy. She is shown with her crescent moon, a sign of time, often with her books, her flame, or her wand of healing, shepherding, or spinning. She was the oracle of the ancients and the poet's muse. She often speaks in tongues, one of them being mathematics. She is recognized as being apart. She is given space, as if the window to the other world follows her around. Even as a beautiful maiden, she is hands off. As a wheel of talent, her skills are such to frighten off friendship and intimacy. As a vehicle of genius, she is often assumed to be all-knowing and is isolated, alone with her power. The world is not the world. Her life is out of sync with others. The signs of the priestess are the stork, or the ibis of knowledge, the fox and the willow of the new moon, and self-sacrificing plants without flower or with large sterile flowers that symbolize purity rather than fertility. Shifruk means priestess, but also the fairy. The strength of fire, a controversial card. Strength was interpreted by some as the strength of life itself, of desire in women to procreate. Creation is confusing. I have learned to separate the creation of knowledge, which raises up the angels, and the creation of matter, which is life in this world, not in the next. The power of cups, creation is nourishment. The power of fire, creation is annihilation of this world's attachments for the sake of another. Strength with her signs of infinite looping and her friendship with all that is destructive. Few realize that the connection between the gods of fire with spiders. This is a Norse connection, where fire is closely connected to time, the change of seasons and day into night. The Norse god Loki was not of Asgard, but his gifts of fire and the eight-legged steed to Odin won him entry there. The weaver and the spider were one and the same. The spinning of fate, a web of time to trap the human, poisoning and drying. In my own cards of strength, I tried to draw the connection between the wolf, the large cat of Europe, the lynx, and the evergreen trees. Winning is not physical strength, but confidence, trust, and recourse. The Doomsday Weapon. The characters at the end of the gods, which the fire plays a huge part, from Shiva in India to Loki in Scandinavia, fight to keep the world the same, while evil gods seek to wipe it out with fire. The Greek goddess Nemesis was not so much a goddess of retribution as of will, the deed done and acknowledged and the price now exacted, or the idea of karma. The same word in the Celtic languages means death of a generation. Niv was a word of finality, an entire people wiped out. My animal cards show the ash tree of the world with the adder of time wrapped around it. So often what heals can also poison, and what seems like destruction is just the end of a cycle. Humans have a deep need to close the cycle every once in a while, to wipe out their creations in order to begin anew. Hope. From the ashes, the fire rises new, with the represent hope of a new world and a new pattern. In the traditional tarot, Aquarius, represented by Gula, the healing goddess of the ancient Near East, who is shown with her star, Sirius, the dog. She starts anew in the desert with the first water on the first plant, the first star of heavens over the dark waters, the first voice, the first breath. In my own cards, I have put the wolf or the birds of night. Raelta means star in Gaelic, but also means to clear or manifest. The ancients counted on their years by stars and acknowledged the spinner as the maker of stars and time.